Welcome to another episode of the SportsBros podcast, featuring the almighty B Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Cool. The SportsBros podcast is a sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome to another episode of the SportsBros podcast. That's right, we are back with another action-packed episode of your favorite sports podcast, the SportsBros podcast. Scottie D looks a little chilly. B-Live looks a little comfortable. Scottie D, you gotta put a coat on, man. I know we're recording inside, but you gotta put a coat on. But you know, we'll get to that shortly. A little quick housekeeping, real fast. Shout out to our very own Matty Ice, Martin Tracy. Happy belated birthday to him. And also a special shout out to Gino McGee of the Bias Sports Talk Group 4.0 on Facebook. And he's a diehard Saints fan too. He's also sitting on the couch with us besides the Falcons fans as well too. But shout out to both of them and thank you for listening to the SportsBros podcast. So let's get into it. Introducing first two of the best co-hosts in the world, the almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. I know that the college football national championship is going on tonight. And with my entire playoff and NFL's coming on, I don't care about you or none of your team. I'm going to rep what I rep because you know what? I look good in it. And looking forward to next season, and it begins right now. So let's get it. Let's go. And I guess there is somebody on this podcast that might have something to celebrate after beating up on the second and third stringers on their division rival. Go ahead and introduce that other guy. You know, let's get that out of the way.
How would you like that 50 burger cooked? And with that being said, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, he is the money man, Scottie D.
Crazy, baby, I go crazy. What a crazy weekend for the NFL.
Facts.
Week 18, first time ever, it delivered. It was cool. I honestly went into that thinking, you know, there's only so much I can be interested in. And a whole bunch of stuff happened. We're going to get into that here momentarily. But Eddy Cool, college football championship is wrapping up. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. College football.
You know what? It's a wrap, and it's a wrap right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive into the national championship game between the Bulldogs of the University of Georgia and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Wow. What a game. That's all I have to say. It was an action-packed game between the University of Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide. The University of Georgia, they've done it for the first time in 41 years. They win the national championship. They defeat the number one team, Crimson Tide, 33-18. We're going to go around the horn right fast. We don't want to bore you too much because we got a whole lot of show going on here. And we're going to give some thoughts. Scottie D, I'm going to start with you first. What are your thoughts about tonight's national championship game?
It was really like two different games.
Yep.
First half was neither team really got anything going offensively. It was like one big play to get you down the field, and the other team's defense would cinch it up. You know, it was making both coaches nervous because all head coaches say, you get in the red zone and you settle for field goals. That's the way to lose games. And both teams were doing it. And then the second half, it opened up a good bit. You know, you start seeing a little bit more action, obviously. The turning point of the game was the fumble by Stetson Bennett that looked in real time like it might have been an incomplete pass because his hand was going forward. The ball somehow popped straight up in the air and went forward. And the Alabama defender didn't even seem like he was trying to recover it, but he casually just cradled the ball, tiptoed on the sideline, and it was their ball. And that seemed to really set Bennett off because then he came back after Bama scored. He answered with a touchdown drive of his own, and then he was off and running from there. And then it seemed like maybe you feel the same way, B-Lad, that the Bama defense sort of wore down a little bit there in the fourth quarter because they didn't seem to, as Nick Saban said, they didn't really finish.
Well, I will say this. I will say this more than ever. This was exactly what it was supposed to be. This was a storybook finish. Literally the first drive, Georgia causes a fumble, which we thought was a fumble, and scoop and score. Georgia is up immediately on Alabama, and that was the narrative of this game. But then we looked at it. Bryce Young made one of the biggest I will say this, instinctual plays. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm about to get sacked. Let me try to get my arm forward to try to get a pass off.
And it worked.
And a lot of people in their mouths like, oh, yeah, and this is the narrative. They drove the ball down the field. They moved the ball just as Alabama does, but they couldn't get into the end zone. And I was like, okay, Georgia is playing. They're playing good defense. Mm-hmm. They're trying their best to hold Alabama back, and that is the narrative. Georgia kept Alabama out of the end zone enough for their offense to finally do what they needed to do.
Yeah, because they didn't get clicking until the second half at all.
Yeah, nothing. Field goal. I was like, oh my goodness.
They actually started off with 3 and out back-to-back times. I didn't know if Georgia was ever going to get a first down in this game the way this game started off.
Yeah, you're right about that.
The first thing I said, I was like, Stetson Bennett is not ready for the big game because it went back to the SEC championship, which I'm not going to go into conspiracy. I said what I said. Georgia had no incentive to win the game in the SEC championship. But whatever. This game is for it all. And I watched Stetson Bennett, and I was like, this dude is scared. He was like, I need to run the ball. And literally, he had the ball running. Nobody touched him. Just cough. I was like, wait, whoa. This is the biggest game of your life right now. You can't just first thought I had, he's not ready for the big game. Bryce Young has already done what he needs to do. Mm-hmm. He's ready for the big game. Stetson Bennett, and I've said this countless times, is going to be the play of a quarterback. Stetson Bennett bounced back and made it happen.
It seemed like when he threw that bomb to Pickens early in that was their third possession. Mm-hmm. They just picked up a first down. That seemed to kind of almost calmed him down a little bit. It kind of opened the game up a little bit for him, gave him a little bit of confidence. Like, oh, okay, we belong here now. That got them actually. I think they answered with a field goal at that point. They may have been down 6-0 at that point or 3-0. I forget how exactly the scoring was at that particular time, but that definitely was a huge play for that kid in the first half because at that point Georgia's offense looked futile. All of a sudden he connects on a big one and now they're in business.
I said watching that in real time, when Stetson Bennett, when he passed that, I was like, oh, that looks nice. It was Zach Pickens ready for it. I was like, oh,
great catch too.
That was a dime.
It was a perfect pass. Yeah. So great pass, great catch.
Yeah, it was a good pass, good catch. Towards the end, Alabama got a little sloppy, especially with a good old Kool-Aid with the pass interference, and then also early in the first half, they were already down John Mechie, who was already going to miss the game already, who was already out due to injury, and then Jamison Williams, his knee buckled, and that was, and watching the replay, Hey, I mean, you hate seeing that in the national championship game, and if he would have been stayed healthy, could have been a deciding factor because he already had like I think 4 catches for like 44 yards already in the first half. So that could have been a deciding factor. But next man up, and Alabama did what they could with what they had, but they fell short. And the Dogs, University of Georgia Bulldogs, they are the new national champions of college football. Well, Be Live, that's it for college football, right?
It's never done and over with college football when it comes to your boy, the almighty Be Live. There's always going to be something going on. But the chapter of 2021-2022, we can close the book. And for the first time since 1980, and you still see the Paul, for those that are watching on YouTube, you see the Paul. For the first time since 1980, the Georgia Bulldogs out of Athens, Georgia, are your national champions, and they deserve every bit of it. Yep. Congratulations to Georgia. And let me go ahead and get this out of the way because this is what I do. I ain't trying to hear the bullshit. Yes, you beat us earlier, but it took y'all a long time to get to the promised land. Can you repeat the process? Because I can see Georgia fans sounding like LSU when LSU beat Clemson a couple years ago. I'm saying what I said. Clemson will be back. Alabama will be back.
I think Georgia will too. I think they will too.
Georgia, will you be back? Can you repeat success? I'm asking.
Kirby and then next year, you got to factor Pitt into the party. They're going to be joining the party too.
No, we do not. ladies and gentlemen, by the way, I do apologize ahead of time because we've kept up the money man, Scottie D, well past his bedtime. So he's talking delirium right now. So I do apologize about that. We're gonna put him to rest because he's talking about Pitt Panthers. Why? How? Whatever.
Oh man,
just looking forward to next year. That's all. Just looking forward.
That too, man.
I'm so surprised you said the reigning, defending, undisputed ACC. I was waiting for that.
Tell them, Scott, there'll be time for that. There'll be time for that.
It just feels a little hollow to brag on that one right after Georgia becomes a national championship, wins the national championship. So, but like you said, I echo the congratulations for Georgia and their fans. It's been a long time coming for them. And head up, Alabama. Tide will be rolling again next year. Another great season.
Yeah, Alabama reloaded. Alabama does what they usually do. And finally, Kirby Smart, the assistant, he defeats the teacher, Nick Saban. All right, with that being said.
In 1 year. That's two in 1 year.
Yep, that's twice. That's
Jimbo Fisher and Kirby Smart.
Yep, twice in 1 year. And I was also watching the ESPN2 feed. They had Jimbo Fisher in the film room with some of the players, and it was some pretty unique commentary. Pretty good, pretty entertaining. ESPN always has a way to okay, there's the game, then there's the commentary or the supercast, or whatever they call it. So they made it very, very interesting. All right, fellas, that's it for the college football season. Coming up next, some wildness, wackiness. The week that was a very entertaining week that was week 18, the first ever in the history of the National Football League. Week 18, and it did not disappoint. We'll talk about that coming up next on the Sports Bros podcast.
Yes, sir.
Wow, and what a national championship game that was.
Nobody cared. Whatever. I wish both teams could have lost. My bad. I'm still hating.
So it was kind of like people were hoping for Oakland and LA for a tie. Gotcha.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, bro.
Yeah.
We got it. Oh my God.
Yeah. A tie. Here we go. All right. So here we go. For the first time in the history of ever, The NFL gave us an 18th week of football, right? The season finale of week 18 of the NFL season. And there was a whole hell of a lot going on, folks. A whole hell of a lot going on. Of course, I got a few questions. Question number one. Well, actually, the first question, the only question. All right. It has some twists and turns and a few surprises. What did you find to be the most interesting development of this past weekend? Scottie D, I'll start with you.
Well, there's a wealth of them. The one big obvious one B Live alluded to. I'll pass out on here in just a moment, but the fact of the matter that the Cowboys were somehow managed to move up out of that 4th seed because it seemed impossible that both the Rams and the Cardinals were going to lose on the same night, which was the only way the Cowboys are going to move out of that 4th spot. And that's what happened. The Rams are up 17-0. Game, season's over. They got the division, no problem. And what happened to that team? We criticized Matt Stafford because he's looked shaky here the last month of the season. Mm-hmm. But that's the defense that has multiple future Hall of Famers on it, and they couldn't hold that lead. Even at the end of the game, they were up 7 with a couple minutes to go, and they couldn't stop Jimmy G, who had the thing on his hand. He had a bad web or thumb or something was going on there. At the beginning of the game, Jimmy G looked terrible, and then he kind of got into a groove as the game went on, and all of a sudden, that was going on while the Cardinals were blowing a lead. They were up late, too, and they blew a lead to Seattle in what might have been Russell Wilson's last game to cook in Seattle, and Pete Carroll's possible last game as the head coach of Seattle. Whatever, that happened. Did not see that coming. As a Cowboy fan, I was rooting heavily for that because in the off chance the Cowboys actually win the playoff game in the first week on the wildcard weekend, that meant they were going to have to travel to Green Bay. And I'm convinced right now that traveling to Green Bay in this January is going to end your season. I don't think anybody is going up there to win right now. That's the way I feel about it. And I especially don't trust my team, who blew out the Falcons in November only to lose the following week to Kansas City. Then blew out Washington a few weeks ago only to lose the following week to the Cardinals. And now they blew out Philly this past week and got another game coming, and I'm not trusting them to win this game against San Francisco. I hope, but if they do, then they'll have to face either the Buccaneers or Eagles. They don't have to go to Lambeau. And that, to me, would have been the end of the Cowboys. It might be anyway. Like I said, I'm not trusting the Cowboys because they beat up on the Eagles backups, but I thought that was an interesting development. I don't think it was the most interesting development of the weekend, though. Be Live. What do you think?
Well, I was definitely paying very close attention to those games, but easily, I'm so hurt, disappointed that because I needed this in fantasy football.
Oh, fantasy football!
I said what I said. I was in.
Your league had a championship in week 18, and it's your own fault. It should have been done the week before. Nobody has fantasy football championships at the last week.
That was the settings of the league I was in.
Okay, talk about the NFL, not the BFL.
Anyway, the NFL directly correlates with my fantasy league because my man that got me all the way to the championship carried his team on his back and was going to take them into the playoffs, and we had them up there. They did the unthinkable and crapped the bed against the Jaguars. The Indianapolis Colts, what happened?
Yeah.
You see me wearing all this orange. Understandably so, I do like Trevor Lawrence. But there's no way the Colts will lose this game.
No way.
And miss the playoffs altogether. And that's what they did.
And lost badly.
It wasn't even close. They had Trevor Lawrence looking like he's the actual superstar that he should be. Colts, what happened?
What happened?
And now they are sitting at home. And when I speak of fantasy football, I'm speaking of Jonathan Taylor. And I mean, he did something, but he did not get in the end zone. It was just mind blowing because just
how sick are you if you're a Colts fan though?
Yeah, that's unreal.
I'm very sick.
The Jaguar
very
fans are showing up in clown costumes. That shows you how much they really gave a crap about that game. They were just there to shun the owner and the general manager. They were just there. And you find a way to lose this game against a bunch of clowns?
They got their number.
Oh boy. Carson Wentz, I'm gonna go ahead and say this, bro.
Oh,
I think you had a window. You had a very wide window where you could have put yourself up to superstar. This might have been that. Like he's gonna be an NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be a journeyman. If he's like, but as far as him being that legit QB1 for a team, I don't know. I think at this point the jury's out, and it's not going to bode well for one Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think he's going to be around again next year. Didn't he come in on a 2-year deal or have at least one more year left on this deal? I think. I mean,
I think because again, I
think they're going to keep him. They're going to keep him because what else do they have a quarterback? What else do they have a quarterback?
And the quarterback room, everybody's saying that the quarterback room in the draft is not. It's not what there's not going to be a number one pick that's going to be a quarterback. That's not going to happen.
There's not a franchise changer anyway.
No.
Somebody you're going to plug in and take the Colts to the next level.
Mm-mm.
And so it is. Yeah, I mean, people just Sam Pittman, Matt Corral? He got hurt.
Yeah,
so
he got hurt.
I fell a little bit. What's my boy Sam? Dude from North Carolina.
Sam Howell.
See, I'm your college football guru, and I'm having trouble remembering these dudes.
Kenny Pickett.
I think the dude from Liberty, Malik.
Yep.
I see, but yeah. Either way, come on, Colts. Carson Wentz, what really just disappointing. I want to sorry my girl Lindsay, my boss lady, and my side gig. She's a diehard Colts fan. I know she hurt. She's also an Ohio State fan, so she been hurt. But but I'm not hurt about that at all. I said what I said. But Eddy, cool. What was the game that just stood out to you week 18 and this wild and crazy week?
Yeah, what was your surprise?
The surprise, I'll tell you what my surprise was. It wasn't really a surprise, but it didn't really have any playoff implications, but the Patriots losing to the Dolphins. And like I said, what did I say a few episodes ago about the Patriots? I said they could run the table, but then there's that annual South Florida trip at the end of the season where it doesn't turn out good for them because the last handful of times they went to South Florida at the end of the year. It hasn't been good. I don't know if it's a change in climate or temperature or what, but historically speaking, man, that trip to South Florida ain't been good. I mean, the Patriots had a chance to go 11-6, but they wound up finishing the season at 10-7. And Rodney, Cliff, Brent, my heart goes out to you guys, man, as Dolphins fans, because you start the season 1-7, you finish strong. You finish above 500 at 9-8. Fellas, ain't that weird seeing records like 9-8? I feel like we're in Canada all of a sudden. Yeah, not 9-8. And then I got more to say about the Dolphins in a little bit later, but yeah, that's one of my kind of sort of not really surprises, just the Patriots losing to the Dolphins because the Patriots could have gained some more ground and moved up a spot or two in the AFC, but it's like we're in, so that's good enough as they lose to the Dolphins.
Eddy, cool. If we could just a moment up, because all three of those games were definitely shockers and surprises and left a lot to be desired.
Mm.
But one thing that we have to do on this program, especially in Scottie D's area of the world, we need to take a moment of silence for the city of Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Steelers fans across the world, just a moment of silence to bring their blood pressures and their back down. This is a quick prayer for them, because
Woosah. I tell you something,
man. You know what?
I'll tell you something. That was a crazy situation.
What in the? I could not
the irony could have been through the roof. The fact that the Steelers were such a long shot because they had to go on the road and beat Baltimore, had to go into overtime, had to extend the game with a 4th and 8, because if they don't get it and they tie, they are out. Not only that, but they had to have the aforementioned Jaguars beat the Colts. And then when all that's accomplished, all you have to do on Sunday night is have either team win. Doesn't even matter.
Right.
Either team.
Wow.
Anybody, just somebody
they can't tie. They cannot
They
tie.
tie. And if you tie, then you get eliminated. And they were 2 seconds away from tying. And the Raiders were content to tie until the Chargers called a timeout and they regrouped and ran that 3rd and 4 play for 12 yards and then kicked the field goal. They were gonna do it. They were gonna go ahead and take the tie, because if you're the Raiders, why bother putting anything else at risk? You know, why bother lining up for a 50-some yard field goal, maybe getting a blocked, missed, and then losing that game? A tie is good enough.
A tie gets both teams in. A tie would have gotten the Chargers and the Raiders in. And Pittsburgh, after everything that they went through in Week 18, would have been out of the playoffs. So their game wasn't their game a 1 o'clock game?
Pittsburgh, yes.
Yeah, the
Steelers game was a 1 o'clock game. So they had to intently watch football all the way into the midnight hour.
Wow.
Bro, you cannot write this story. You can't make this up. I said this game is going to end up in a tie.
And that game was a roller coaster. It was, I mean, how many times did the Chargers lose that game in regulation? They're down 15. Then they have a 4th down and 10, and the receiver catches the ball on the line. They mark it short and come back from commercial and give him the 1st down. And then they convert a 4th and 21 for a touchdown.
How many 4th down receptions did the Chargers have? How many 4th down passes did Justin Herbert throw that game?
On that game-tying drive, he didn't complete anything on 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down. It was 4th and 10, 4th and 9, and he converted 5 of them, I believe, including one with 2 seconds left in the game.
I think I saw a stat where he went 6 for 6 for like 106 on where he was on like 3rd or 4th down or whatever. Like, think about it, 6 for 6, 100 some plus yards on that do or die down. I mean, he'd be a stud in Canada if that was the case.
And it took him 19 plays for that final drive, because they just kept going all the way to 4th down. It took him 19 plays to get down there.
And I want to also, because Scott, you mentioned, because I didn't catch the post-game conference, but you're saying that in the post-game conference, the Raiders did mention that they were going to run out the clock.
They said that they were talking about it. Bisaccia, took over for Gruden, was asked about it. And he said, we were discussing that. And then the Chargers coach said, well, I wanted to get my personnel in the game, which you don't have to call timeout to do that. I'm not sure why he said that. I don't know. It was strange that they took the timeout. Even, Collinsworth mentioned at the time, like, oh, this is a bit of a surprise that Chargers took the timeout here. I don't know if they were thinking like along regulation times, hoping they were going to get a ball back if they missed a field goal. I'm not sure what their thinking was. I would tend to think that would be the thinking, but nobody's ever been in that position before.
Right. The Chargers coach, he said, I do remember this. He did say that he wanted to make the field goal longer. He wanted to make the field goal a little bit more difficult. Right. So I get that part. I get it somewhat. But and I'm gonna go ahead and say this, because again, it comes back to fantasy football. It comes back to me. Because in that final game, I had Josh Jacobs, running back. Boom, do your thing. My guy that I'm going against had Daniel Carlson. I lost because they just
Because he kept kicking field goals.
Jesus Christ. I'm just like,
I think he kicked 5.
Yep,
5 of them. And I'm over here like, you just give one of those field goals, make that a touchdown for Josh Jacobs, I win. But it is what it is. Chris, congratulations. Kiss my rear end and whatever. But man, that game, pins and needles again to Pittsburgh Steeler Nation. Terrible. Good Lord. That is what a way to get into the playoffs.
And what a fun end of the season. I mean,
that was fun.
B-Live and I were texting back and forth during the game. And a couple other people were texting in with me. I kept saying, it feels like the Raiders were doing everything they could to lose that game.
They were
trying to lose the game. And they pulled it out. It was just a crazy, even, Al Michaels and Collinsworth are like, their minds were blown by every turn of event. It was such an eventful game. It wasn't even a boring game where neither team won. It was very, very entertaining way to finish the season.
The best part of their commentary was the fact that you could clearly tell, and Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth are two of the most decorated, most tenured color commentators in all of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally did not know how to talk. Like, it was one of like, what do you do in this situation?
yeah.
Like, what? I don't know. And
they were having a blast. You could tell they were having fun with it. It was
my
great.
God, I loved it. And to whoever, I guess the competition committee for the NFL, whoever's in charge of flexing, hats off. That was by far.
That was a great call.
Best ending of the 2021 NFL regular season. That by far the best way to end it.
And what a spark to that rivalry. I mean, going forward next year, all the Chargers are going to be so mad at it because if they would have taken that knee, we're going into playoff. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, fellas, it was good to see the AFC West being competitive, like a whole division being competitive. So moving right along, fellas, here we go. Playoffs. The playoffs are here, all right? And so here are the matchups, all right? Over in being played on Saturday, the 15th. Over in the AFC, we have the wild card game. We have the aforementioned Las Vegas Raiders against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Road game for the Raiders. And then we have the Patriots at the Bills. All right, fellas, who you picking and why?
Go ahead, B-Life.
I got to go both of these games right here. I got to go with the home team because they're the two hotter teams.
Mm-hmm.
Las Vegas is on a roller coaster of emotion. And they could have a way of winning this game. But I think Oakland's defense is their Achilles. And I think Joe Burrow will eat them alive. It's going to be high scoring. I think Joe Burrow put up another 400 yards against them. Mixon Dixon going to do his thing. I think Cincinnati definitely takes this one. And then Buffalo trending up, Patriots trending down. I think, and it's in Buffalo. Buffalo, Bills Mafia is going to show up in force.
And break tables. They're going to break tables.
I know you don't, Bill Belichick, but I just don't, I think that the Patriots are just they're not clicking the way they have been in recent, before December/January. So
their rookie quarterback has been looking a little bit more rookie-like lately. Mm-hmm. And Buffalo, last time the Patriots were in town, lost that game where the Patriots didn't pass. 2 weeks later, they went to New England and beat them up there. They righted that wrong. I think at this point, Buffalo has all the confidence, momentum. I agree. I think they win. I think Josh Allen will carry that team. And I agree with the Bengals as well. Raiders on a short week going cross country to a team that got to basically rest some of their guys this past week. The Bengals, to me, turned a corner against Kansas City a couple weeks ago. So I like them, both home teams in that one.
Yep, because at the beginning of the season, we did not pick Cincinnati to win that division. A quick note, fellas, weather for the Bills and the Patriots. The Cold. It's going to be 15 degrees in the daytime, 7 degrees at night.
That's
7
yeah. That's not even. That's not necessary.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's going to be a absolute chill.
And Bills Mafia don't care.
They don't care. They'll be out there. They'll be out there chest naked, going through tables, starting fires, drinking liquor. They're cutting up. They're going to be cutting up. All right, moving
7.
on. Yeah. Oh well, yeah, with the 7 at night. All right, moving right along to the Sunday slate. We got JR's Eagles, who got mollywopped by Scottie D's Cowboys, 50 burger. We got the Eagles at Tampa Bay. And then at 4:30, we have the 49ers at Scottie D's Dallas Cowboys. And then we have the Steelers at the Chiefs. And we got us a Monday playoff game, fellas. The Cardinals at the Rams. Scottie D, what say you first?
Bucks. That's not much to say beyond that. Bucks. Give me the Bucks. Chiefs. Don't have much to say about that one. Give me the Chiefs. I'm really torn. I want to pick the Cowboys because they're my team. I think if they can get to Jimmy G and put some pressure on him, I think they can win. I think they can force some bad throws. They're favored only by 3. It's only a home field point spread. There's a lot of weapons on San Francisco. They really looked good in that second half against the Rams. So I'm gonna pick the Cowboys only because I love them. And I'm having a hard time being objective here, but I am not convicted on it. I think the Cowboys can find that extra gear, but they just don't for whatever reason. And I think I kind of think I like the Cardinals on Monday night. I've been big on the Rams all year up until like the last 2 weeks. I kept thinking the Rams are going to be fine, even when they had some not so good games. It took a last second win at the Ravens, and then they backed into their division. Both teams lost last week. I'm not super confident on the Cardinals either. They just lost 3 out of 4. Their only game they won was 4 out of 5, I think, and beating the Cowboys last weekend. But I don't give the Steelers any chance of beating Kansas City, and I don't give the Eagles any chance of beating Tampa Bay. Be live.
I'm going to do something that unprecedented. I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and get this out of the way before I even go into this. JR, shut the hell up. So I'm going to get that out of the way. He's an avid listener, and I'm allowed to say that we've been best friends for over 20 plus years. I think we're closing in on the quarter century. I think we
25.
are.
Yep.
So, and we're planning a trip to Vegas this year for our 40th. So, but I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. So for the other listeners, I'm not that savage. I'm not that, well, there is Uncle Max, but then there's also Trey. You know what? I am just a savage. I do what I do. Anyway, I'm going to do something unprecedented. Sunday and Monday games, I'm taking all road teams. I'm not confident. I am not confident in Tom Brady in the way that Tampa Bay is playing. Yes, you can look good against a Carolina Panther team that does not play second half football. But I think the cohesion, I think the what's that called? The timing between him and his wide receivers. I think that he has to depend very heavily on Gronk. I think that Philadelphia might have an answer for that. Philadelphia also has the means and the ways of slowing down the football game that would hamper Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay does really well when they're on the field a lot. Their offense on the offensive side of the ball. Tom Brady will find a way. But JR, I'm going to go with your Eagles this one time.
Okay,
I'm going to give you a one time for the one time. If they blow it, then guess what? This is your one time and you can never get it again. I said what I said. San Francisco, I think, this is where I think the emotion is actually going to be good for the team. I absolutely love what San Francisco is doing with Deebo Samuel. That dude is the truth.
They put him everywhere.
And it is very, very hard to stop him. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think San Francisco pulls it out. Pittsburgh, emotion. I did not like the way Kansas City played against Denver. They eked that one out, and that was with a game-changing fumble return.
Mm-hmm.
Denver was handling Kansas City. They looked human. And then Arizona, Los Angeles. Los Angeles does not look like the team that they should be on paper. Arizona, let's see what you could do. It's going to be interesting without D-Hop. But I think, isn't there rumors that J.J. Watt might be back?
Yep, he might be back. Yep.
So, I don't know. I feel like that's my decision right now. Eddy, cool, what say you?
All right, so let's see. Start with the Saturday games. I'm picking the Bengals because they the Bengals and Joe Burrow plays with a chip on his shoulder. The second wild card game that night, I'm going to pick the Bills because they're at home and it's going to be cold as hell. The Sunday games, let's see what we got here. For some strange reason, I cannot bet against Tom, Edward, Patrick, Gerald, Carmichael, Brady the third. I can't. I don't want to be made look silly. Then we got Scottie D's Cowboys and the 49ers. Zeke got to figure something out real quick. The emergence of Cedric Wilson might play into their favor. But then again, Deebo Samuels, you can't rule him out because he'll either be throwing it, catching it, running it, or doing something with the ball. So but then again, I'm going to have to roll with Dallas because, Dallas is at home. And with the wild card, with the Steelers and the Chiefs, I'm going to have to go Kansas City because they're at home and they really don't lose at home that much. And Monday, spoiler alert, the Cardinals, because the Rams have been up and down. They've been up and down. So, and that's who.
So have the Cardinals. They haven't been consistent. Yeah. But it's just, the Rams just have not impressed.
I'm changing my pick. I'm going with the Rams. I can't turn my back on the team I picked for the Super Bowl to lose in the first one. They gotta pull that out. They gotta figure it out. They gotta get.
He's making decisions on emotions and ego. Here he go.
He's flipping.
I done flipped on the Bucks and I had them in the Super Bowl. I'm flipping shit.
Wow.
Like I don't. Hey, my ego. I cast that aside. You know how much I like to be right, but shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, well, listen. Overall, we all three picked Kansas City in the Super Bowl preseason. All three of us did. You guys both picked on them. Buccaneers, and I picked the Rams. Who do we think now going into the playoffs? Who are your two Super Bowl teams? If you say right now, who do you think is going to come out of this?
I'm telling you right, and I mentioned it. I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before. I really believe, I believe in the Tennessee Titans. I'm telling you, if Derrick Henry is even like 75%, that just gives them an added bonus. And I feel like they can do it. I think Tennessee and Cincinnati right now are the best two teams in the AFC. NFC is a who's who, but I'm going Tennessee versus Green Bay in the Super Bowl. I'm going for the number one seeds. It hasn't happened in forever. But I
agree. I'll take the Packers. I think the Packers win it all.
I think the extra game is going to take a toll. You really need that bye week, and I think Tennessee and Green Bay are going to benefit from it.
I can't bet on Tannehill. I said I can't bet on Tannehill. I'm taking the Bills and Packers.
All right, so that leaves me. Packers Chiefs Super Bowl. Packers Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
They're gonna ride Mahomes in that $500 million contract all the way. All right, I ain't mad at you.
Yep, I'm gonna ride it all the way to the bank.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Ms. Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. We ask the question, you give us the answer, and we discuss it right here on the Sports Bros podcast. Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
All right, so in the theme of John Madden having recently passed away and getting a lot of flowers from a lot of people, we asked, who do you think was the all-time Madden Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year? And we had a few cool responses here, Eddie. We'll read them off just to see what we got here.
All right, let's see what we got going on here. A short list, but a good list. All right. Jim Hansen, he says Barry Sanders on offense and Lawrence Taylor on defense.
Two pretty good ones during the Madden era, no doubt.
Yep, cannot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we pretty much left everything out on the field. I wish we could have saw more of Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Really wish we could have saw more of them. Detroit, do better. There's something. Good Lord. To be a Detroit fan ever at any given point in time. Tristan, my bad, bruh. Good Lord. I'm just saying, I feel you.
Ford, sell the damn team. Give it to somebody that's going to go do something. I don't know what you got going on. Beautiful stadium, but what are you doing?
Plus, back then, CBS and Fox were rotating every other year with the Lions at 1 o'clock, the Cowboys at 4 o'clock. So Madden saw Barry Sanders every other year on Thanksgiving too. It was the reason to watch the Lions on Thanksgiving for several years.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. Uncle Max, the Hall of Famer. What's going on, buddy? He says he loved talking about Brett Favre. All right. Once I heard him say that Brett Favre was a quarterback with a linebacker mentality. On the other side of the ball, he said Ronnie Lott was the hardest hitting defensive back in all of football. You get near him and boom, you're going to pay. So Uncle Max said Brett Favre on offense and Ronnie Lott on defense.
Two perfect answers right there. As far as perfect Madden type players. He loved those hard-nosed, hardcore guys like that. He loved those kind of guys.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
I mean, Ronnie Lott cut his finger off so he wouldn't miss a game.
Got to go play. Cut this thing off. It's a pinky. I don't need it. And he still got an interception. Yeah. Woo, something else. All right. The birthday boy himself, Matty Ice Martin Tracy, he says this is the perfect video, Madden, as a color man covering this great matchup that epitomizes Madden, what Madden loves about players. And I think I saw a little bit of the video, and I think it featured Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis just beating up.
And Jerome Bettis.
Yeah. So he selected Ray Lewis and Jerome Bettis. Jerome Bettis was just big and just ran over everybody.
Yep.
I like it.
Large. All right. Trade Deals gave us this large, long paragraphical answer, but I'm going to just cut it in half.
Cliff notes. Yeah, do Cliff notes on it.
Well, I have some Cliff and barely notes. He said Larry Allen, right? He said Larry Allen, the best offensive lineman and a tough as hell, hard-nosed, grown-ass man. You're right about that. And I've never heard John Madden get more excited when Larry Allen chased down a guy half his size from behind after he caught an interception. That's where my notes stopped. So we're going to roll with Larry Allen. Did Trey Dizzle give us one on defense?
No, but he did say, why do we have to lose John Madden, Betty White, and Dan Reeves, but Dak Prescott is still wandering around?
I knew it.
We need Dak this Sunday. Come on, Dak.
Yeah.
Make me and Trey happy. Make us happy.
Hey, Trey Dizzle, if you listen to the podcast, I may have a Tony Romo football card that I know that you're interested in.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along, the guy that gave us the idea for this week's Choices of the Voices, Reese Jenkins. If you see this logo right here, you need some artwork, holla at him, all right? All right, he said, he gave me a few of them. I said, Reese, just give me one offense, one defense, because he gave me a list this long. I said, hey, do the time constraints for cutting it short, all right? He said, Jim Brown, Brown's running back, right? And then he said on defense, Deion Sanders. So Jim Brown and Deion Sanders. For the all.
Okay.
Madden
I mean,
selection.
Jim Brown was obviously playing before Madden was a commentator, but he was the man among boys out there. So he would be a perfect all Madden type player. And who was his defensive guy? Oh, Deion.
Yep, Deion.
Deion's on all anybody's team. He was
anything, all anybody. Because in the words of Deion Sanders, when you look good, you play good, you smell good, you feel good, you eat good, you do good. You know what I'm saying? Coach Prime, baby, 105 in Prime, 21st in Prime. All right, here we go. All right, and Kyle Ponstinger, I met him the other day, and he gave me his offensive answer, but I forgot. I should have written it down. But for defense, he said John Lynch. As an all Madden player,
hard hitter.
Yeah, because John Lynch was a hard hitter, and I tried to get in contact with Kyle to get his offensive answer, but I think he didn't text me back. Maybe he's busy. So yep, he said on defense, John Lynch, and you can't debate
All right,
that.
we'll put Kyle down for Emmitt Smith. We'll put Emmitt Smith down for him.
Yep. We'll put him down for Emmitt Smith. Hey, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind it. So yeah. So shout out to Jim Hanson, Uncle Max, Matty Ice, Trey Dizzle, Reese, and Kyle for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, all Madden team, Tough Acting International. Boom, who you got?
I had to pick for a defensive player. For him, it was Reggie White, because Reggie White, I can even remember it. Remember Reggie White used to do that kind of club move when his right arms kind of toss offensive linemen out of the way. John Madden used to eat that kind of stuff up, and Reggie White was absolutely in his prime during the Madden era, even leaving the Eagles, going to Green Bay and being kind of their missing piece that got them over the top.
Yep.
So I'm going Madden, Reggie White for all Madden defense. And while I think Brett Favre might be the epitome of the John Madden offensive player, I want to throw Nate Newton out there, because John Madden loved offensive linemen. He gave offensive linemen more credit and more attention than probably any announcer ever did before or since. And he used to do all the circling with all those Cowboys offensive line. He'd circle their butts and show them how they were sweating down and, crouched down in the trenches and all that stuff. And him and Nate Newton had a good relationship. He really hit it off with Nate Newton. They even talked about that a little bit in that documentary on Christmas Day. But Nate Newton was he was the epitome of the grinder of the Cowboys offensive line. Who was, very, had a very high reputation in the early 90s. So I'm going Nate Newton and Reggie White for my all Madden all time. How about you, B-Live?
I'm Scottie D, because after reading and hearing the answers on the show, I may have misunderstood the assignment. I was going in a different direction than what the other other listeners did with this. Because I was thinking of players that epitomize what John Madden's style, but I was thinking more of a more modern era.
Go ahead. That's fine. That's fine.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard a little bit of that talked about too recently. Like this would have been an all Madden type of player. So I'd like to hear that actually.
All right. So I was thinking about the whole time. I'm like, I may need to switch my answer, but you know what? I'm gonna do what I do the way I do it. So offensive side of the ball, it has to be my dude. Agent 89, Ice Up Son, Steve Smith Sr. When I tell you, somebody that played much bigger than he actually was, and he took on all challenges. I think John Madden he epitomizes just what John Madden's all about. Just mean, angry, plays tough, and we'll get at it. And I want to see him in the Hall of Fame. First ballot, Steve Smith has got to happen. And there was a bit where he does not like Baker Mayfield, by the way. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh boy, here we go.
He does not like Baker Mayfield. I wish I could pull this up, but boy.
That's him. That's Colin Cowherd. Anybody else don't like Baker? I can find you 5 guys in the city that don't like him right now.
But man, yeah, Steve Smith is that dude on the offensive side of the ball. Love watching them play. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to shock some people because I'm not normally one to promote anything about this team, because they have a bar in literally every city in the United States. So there's really no need to promote anybody from this team.
Here we go.
And yes, I'm talking about the Pittsburgh
Here we
go. Everywhere you freaking go. No offense to Oscars, by the way. Them wings, if you haven't had Oscars wings, you're missing out on life. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh my God, you're missing out on life.
But when it comes on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going with Troy Polamalu. I'm just at any point any place on the field was there not a place that Troy Polamalu hadn't been at. He all over the field, jumping over the line, head and shoulders everywhere. And he will lay you out. Man, I really enjoy watching him play. Like really,
he wasn't afraid to hit.
Nope. God
almighty. And so that was my idea, just two mean, just nasty dudes.
Yeah.
And I just that was what I epitomized. Like Barry Sanders was up there for me. Reggie White was definitely up there for me. I was looking at something more modern that maybe like John Madden didn't feature the all Madden team later on in his career. And I'm just like, these dudes would be on that team. And so that's where I go with Steve Smith Sr. and Troy Polamalu. Eddy Cool, what you got for us? Yes, sir.
Since we're in the Steel City, a player on defense that epitomizes all Madden, the guy they call Debo before Debo Samuels came into the league, the guy that was a truck driver turned middle linebacker, turned one of the best to ever do it, James Harrison. James Harrison of the Pittsburgh Steelers. James Harrison was mean, was nasty, was strong. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he can still play now, to be honest with you. James Harrison can still play now. And James Harrison was that guy, man. He would hit you and hit you for real. And it was no joke. When James Harrison hit you, you knew he was on the field. He had to be accounted for. And if you didn't account for him, you paid for it. And he was a Madden type player because Madden loved him, like you said, mean, nasty, physical, boom, hitting all over the place. That's on defense. And on the offensive side of the ball, it's been mentioned earlier, I would have to say Larry Allen, because Larry Allen was a mountain of a man. He was quick, he was agile, and he would move the bodies from one place to the other. Don't believe me? Ask Emmitt Smith, all right? Yeah, Larry Allen was no joke. He's one of the best O-linemen to ever do it. Just a big mass mountain of a man. Scottie D, you've seen him for plenty of years. You know what I'm talking about. He's just big, just large, large.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
What do you do as a 5'11", 190-pound defensive back when you see 73 on the second level? Like, what do you do?
You get the hell out of the way.
Your life flashes before your eyes,
Yeah.
seeing that dude and how quick he is. I'm like, his right bicep weighs more than most freaking
He was strong.
Yeah.
Jesus. Hey, coach, man, I'm gonna go ahead and come out the game. This ain't working out for me. I'll be back when we play the Eagles, when we play the Reds. I'll be good.
Because he's not finna bust me up twice a year and embarrass me. That's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be on no highlight reels 20 years from now. Like, I'm not gonna be Eric Allen, and no. If I'm Eric Allen, oh no, I don't want nothing to do with this. No, none whatsoever.
I guess one of those things, like, Josh Norman will never come back ever as the same person because he got bodied by Derrick Henry with that stiff arm. There's no coming back from that. You can have
no.
But yeah, Larry Allen, good Lord, I'm with you on that. Definitely with you on that.
And I think, speaking of Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry would have been an all Madden player as well too.
Oh, hit a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God Almighty.
Yeah.
I bet he loved watching Derrick Henry play. That's his type of player for sure.
He probably said to me. He probably said to me, "Oh man, look at Derrick Henry, boom." Huh?
How about Marshawn Lynch?
He would have loved him too. He would have loved him. He would have loved Mike Allstott. He would have loved any big bruiser backs. He would have loved them. Yeah, that's John Madden.
Emmitt Smith. He would have loved.
Yep. I mean, he probably would have loved. He probably would have loved Emmitt Smith too. I mean, Emmitt was tough.
Moose Johnson.
Yep, Moose Johnson. Didn't Emmitt Smith play with a separated shoulder on one game?
Yep, sure did.
Yeah, so
single-handedly beat the Giants.
Yeah, with one wing, one wing angel. Shout out to Kenny Omega.
But one dude has a bum ankle and can't play. I'm sorry, my bad.
His ass ain't got no bum ankle. Be like
him that shall not be named. I apologize. There's two people that I'm not going to mention on the show ever again. So I apologize. I ain't doing it. I'm not giving them the time. I swear for the Lord. Whew. All right, cool. Bring it back.
Anyway, it's just.
He's talking about Antonio Brown.
Anyway. All right, Scottie D. With that being said, that's another edition of the Choices of the Voices. And Scottie D, what's on tap for next week? Choices of the Voices.
Okay, we're going into the playoffs. We kind of did our playoff predictions. I'm going to just give them a choice this week. Of the two Super Bowl teams from last year, the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, who is more likely to get back to the Super Bowl this year and why? Now, don't pick Packers and Titans. They weren't in there last year. No. Listen to the question. Of the teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, which is more likely? I know a couple of you have already violated it. We haven't done it yet. Which is more likely to get back this year for the second year in a row from last year to this year? That's the question. Bucks or Chiefs most likely to go back to the Super Bowl this year? And Eddy that'll give us a little something to talk about next week.
In other words,
Trey Dizzle just violated that before you even asked the question. That is an automatic walking violation. Trey Dizzle is going to violate that. I guarantee you. Without question.
So to break it down in layman's terms, them two teams played the Super Bowl last year. Which one of them going back this year? Between them,
which one is most likely? Even if you don't believe it that they are going, which is more likely than the other, and why do you feel that way? Yeah. That'll give us something to talk about.
All right, and shout out to Reese Jenkins for giving us a topic to talk about for the Choices of the Voices. And if you think you have a topic that's worthy of discussion on the Choices of the Voices, let us know via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email. Let us know. Let us know, because guess what? We could be reading your question on the next edition of the Choices of the Voices, just like we did with Reese's. And with that being said, there's been another edition of the Choices of the Voices.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Well, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get the hell up out of here because we tired. We don't watch the football game. We done talked about more football. This is a very football-heavy episode, but nevertheless, it's time for us to go home and get the hell out of here. We got a round of pepper before we go. We're going to give it to you 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really, here to engage, enlighten, and entertain, as we do here at the Sports Bros podcast. And of course, I'll go first, all right? On this day in history, back in 1959, the 9th annual Pro Bowl, all right, back in the NFL, before the merger, way back then. The Eastern Conference defeats the Western Conference 28-21. And the MVPs are Frank Gifford, if that name sounds familiar. That's right. Kathy Lee Gifford's ex-husband, old husband. He was running back for the New York Giants. He was a big deal back in the day. And Doug Atkins, defensive end for the Chicago Bears. So, yeah, MVPs of the 9th annual Pro Bowl. They played it at this point in the season. Crazy to think about. Now everything's shuffled around with an extra week, but nevertheless, we get football, and more football. Over to you, Scottie D.
Okay, a little bit of break from football and into some golf. Cameron Smith won the Hero World Challenge at Kapalua Plantation with a 34 under as his score. These guys may have been playing on putt-putt because he only beat John Rahm by 1 stroke at 33 under. I saw Justin Thomas shot a 61 over the weekend. These guys are just out there throwing darts. So it's obviously not the most difficult course, but still that's a fun tournament to see him go that low. But one thing I'm going to tack on, in addition to last week's prediction, they interviewed Brooks Koepka, and he said he's not felt this good in years. I am predicting Brooks Koepka is going to win at least 1 major this year. If he's healthy and inspired, I still think he might be the best golfer in the world. And remember, he was inspired when he played head-to-head with his boy
Bryson DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau a couple weeks ago, and he knocked his socks off. So I think a Brooks Koepka that's inspired and healthy is a dangerous Brooks Koepka. I'm picking him to win 1, maybe 2. I'm going to pick him to win 2 majors. That's what I'm doing right now this year in 2022. Be Live, over to you.
Mark it down. Brooks Koepka winning 2 majors.
2 majors.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'm going to make the switch a little bit from football to basketball because this was actually it was a feel-good story and a little sadness as well in this stuff because injuries are part of professional sports and you hate to see. You really do hate to see. But we spoke of it last week with Klay Thompson returning to the court to a red-hot Golden State team that, it's only going to get better. But unfortunately, during pregame warm-ups, Draymond Green suffered a calf injury before the game started. So he was going to be out of the game. But since it was Klay Thompson's first game back, Draymond Green said he was going to be on the court for the tip-off, to be there with his teammates for his first game back. And then when the gameplay started, Draymond Green committed a foul. They took him out of the game. But he said he was not missing that moment to be on the floor with Klay Thompson returning. Man, oh man, if that doesn't speak teammate, I don't know what does. Draymond Green, I hope you get better, bro. Man, Golden State, I think they're gonna win it all. I just have a feeling the way they're just gelling. I don't see how you can stop this team. Eddy,
no argument here.
The ball.
I've been telling people, wait till Klay come back, and he's back, dunking on people, mean mugging, got a full beard. Yeah, you better watch out for Klay Thompson. All right. My second pepper point is a little throwback to a previous segment that we had in the show. We were talking about Black Monday, where coaches got fired. Brian Flores, he got fired, but according to Michael Lombardi, an NFL reporter, he says, look out for Jim Caldwell being under strong consideration for the Miami Dolphins job. The last time we saw Jim Caldwell, he went 9-7 in Detroit. And he unceremoniously got bounced and got replaced by Captain Caveman. I'm sorry, Matt Patricia. And we see how that turned out. Now they got Dan Campbell in the knee biters, and they won 2 games all year. But in the words of the Almighty Beli, I digress. All right. This is pretty sensible because Jim Caldwell, he's already familiar with the Dolphins organization because he was an assistant under Flores back in 2019 as an assistant coach and a quarterbacks coach. But a few months into the job, he had to wind up taking a leave of absence due to health issues. And from the looks of it, seems like Jimbo is doing pretty good. This should be a smooth transition because there's a familiarity there. And Miami, if you don't get one Jim, you got another Jim that's worthy of another shot. So go ahead and hire Jim Caldwell and just make it do it and do right by the man. Do right by the man. I still can't believe to this day that Jim Caldwell lost his job to Captain Damn Caveman. Over to you, Scottie D.
That's never sat right with you. I understand.
No, it's just, and he over there looking dirty, dusty, ain't washed his ass in a year. He's just looking dusty. You're not supposed to look dusty as an NFL coach. You're supposed to have a look. He look like, well, I'm going to just get up. I might brush my teeth, eat an egg sandwich, scratch my butt. And oh, yeah, I'm an NFL coach. Get the hell out of here. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. So as we're wrapping up the college bowl season, Beli, I want you to do me a favor and go back and look and tell me on January 1st, 1921, the Rose Bowl game. Tell me what the score of that game was. It was actually back then called the East-West football game, but it was actually the 7th Rose Bowl game. Do you see the score for that one?
Yes, I do. I have, if I'm not mistaken, looks like I have the University of California Golden Bears, 28, and the Ohio State Buckeyes with a goose egg, 28-0 on January 1st, 1921.
The California Golden Bears dominated Ohio State to finish 9-0. Now, 100 years ago, which is 1 year later, tell me that score the following year on 1922.
The following year?
Yeah.
1922.
Okay. 1922. Oh, boy. The University of California Golden Bears and the Washington and Jefferson. I don't even know, but it was a scoreless affair. 0-0.
Washington Jefferson is a college located right here in Washington, Pennsylvania, that I drive past on my way to school every day. And in that year, they had an enrollment of 450 people. They drove days across the country in a train to take on this powerhouse, California Golden Bears, who only the year prior destroyed Ohio State in that game. Not only did they travel cross country, they played exactly 11 players with no substitutions the entire day. Over the course of the season, that W&J team, and actually Washington Jefferson, one of the sports writers out there knew so little about him, he said, the only thing I would know about Washington and Jefferson is that they're both dead. That was his coverage of W&J, Washington and Jefferson. They beat the likes that year of Pitt, Syracuse, among other teams, and their starting quarterback, pardon me, I'll put these things on. Their starting quarterback got hurt in that Pitt game, which was a 7-0 win. And his replacement was Charles Pruner West, the first African-American quarterback to play in the Rose Bowl.
All right.
He obviously didn't score.
Hey, sure.
Can you imagine a team of 450 going out, traveling on train across the country? And not only that, the quarterback, who later became a doctor, I believe, Dr. West, was not allowed to ride in the train car with the other members of the team. He had to ride in the colored car, and this team decided they were also going to ride in there with him. So some team unity back there propelled W&J to go on to a Rose Bowl appearance where they did not win, but they did not lose. Man, a lot has changed since then, but what a crazy story. And that's still something. The 100-year anniversary has been recently celebrated in our local newspaper here in Washington, Pennsylvania. Just thought I would like to share that with you as college football fans. Be Live, over to you.
I appreciate that on so many different levels, Scott.
Me too.
And you know what I learned also while I'm looking at this? In 1942, I want y'all to take a wild guess. Just the wildest of wild guesses where the Rose Bowl was played. Think of it, 1942.
Was it in Charlotte, maybe? It was in the Carolinas, I believe.
Why was it not played on the West Coast, 1942?
Because of one of the world wars or something?
I think it was a war, and I think they moved it to the Carolinas.
It was right after the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
So they limited crowds on the West Coast in fear of an attack.
Yeah.
It was actually held in Durham, North Carolina, at Duke. I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I was like, what?
Wow.
I heard that story. Well, I forgot. I knew it was somewhere in the Carolinas. I was thinking Charlotte for some reason, but yeah, I remember hearing that.
Durham is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. I'd say about an hour and a half away from here. And that is quite the interesting story. That's a pretty big deal. And Ohio State players want to opt out and not play for the Rose Bowl with all this history, the grandfather. But yeah, I all right. You see the orange. You see the paw at 1 o'clock. You see it. All roads lead to that. I spoke briefly about it last week, but I want to just add some accolades because the number one quarterback recruit for the 2022 recruiting class, Cade Klubnik, I had to make sure I got the name pronounced correctly, Klubnik. Nick. Klubnik. He played in the All-Star, National All-Star game, threw for 3 touchdowns in the National All-Star game, was named the MVP of the game, and also was named the Max Preps National Player of the Year. Then there was another guy that you might have heard of that was the National Player of the Year, Max Preps National Player of the Year. All he did was become the Heisman Trophy winner this year by the name of Bryce Young. So, Klubnik, my man, welcome to Clemson. He has already enrolled. He is on campus. He's ready to practice. Cade Klubnik versus DJ Uiagalelei for the starting quarterback job this coming year. Let's get it. The future is bright for my beloved Clemson Tigers. Eddy Cool.
All right, take the demo.
And Spencer Rattlers of the world. The ball.
Your ass got jokes. Remember, Be Live, rattlesnakes bite. All right.
Hey, Eddy Cool, just to throw something out there for you. One of Klubnik's touchdown throws went to South Carolina commit Landon Sampson. So all right, so you got a commit that's in the National All-Star game.
Yeah.
So
We out here doing some stuff. Some stuff is doing.
The last time anybody from Clemson throws a ball to anybody from South Carolina, ain't gonna be no interceptions going on.
I'm gonna knock you out. Keep it up. I'm gonna knock you smooth out. All right. So earlier in the year, late last year, the USFL said we back. All right. And when's the starting date again, fellas? Sometime April 2022.
And I will say April 16th.
Yeah, April 16th, 2022, right around the corner. And
on my calendar.
Yep. And Scott's over here jumping up and down. Look at him. He's jumping up and down. He's jumping for joy. Wait a minute. Put on gallery view. He's jumping up and down. Oh man, here we go. Another spring football league. All right. So that being said. All right, so there's 8 teams in the USFL, right? And for some strange reason, they're releasing only 4 names of the head coach, and it goes as follows. All right. Mike Riley, he'll be the head coach of the New Jersey Generals. Mike Riley was a head coach for the then San Diego Chargers, and he was bad. Bart Andrews of the Philadelphia Stars. Bart Andrews.
Don't have a cow, man.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah, don't have a cow, man. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Can't wait. Good old Bart. And I saw a picture of Bart Andrews.
Can't wait.
Yeah. What's that? I don't know if it's a Spider-Man villain or a Dick Tracy villain where the dude had like the lines in his hair and he had that haircut where it was like this right there. That's what he looked like. All right. But anyways, Bart Andrews was a former coach of the Toronto Argonauts. All right. And then we got Ben Roethlisberger's best friend, Todd Haley, who was a former, who was a former offensive coordinator.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the hairline. I'm looking at that Bart Andrews hairline,
bro. I told you, didn't I tell you? I don't know if it's a Spider-Man or a Dick Tracy villain where his mess looks like this right here. He looks
twist. I'm wearing the hat because I haven't cut my hair yet, and it's a mess. But yeah, bro. Woo.
Yeah. And I think Bart might be having some Beijing up in there. And then we got Ben Roethlisberger's best friend, Todd Haley, who'll be the coach of the Tampa Bay Bandits, aka Antonio Brown's next team. And then we got Ken Sumlin, who was a big deal a while back, the former head coach at Texas A&M University and the University of Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you say Ken or Kevin?
I'm sorry, Kevin Sumlin. I don't know. I want he looked like a Ken, so I'm gonna call him Ken. I'm sorry, Kevin Sumlin, who's the coach of the Houston Gamblers. It's kind of like a who's of college football coaches. I just want to see how long that dye job that Bart Andrews has is going to last. Let's have an over/under bet, fellas. Which lasts longer? Bart Andrews' dye job on his hair or the USFL? What's the over/under?
I'm gonna say this:
dye job.
Bart Andrews' head looks like the Michigan Wolverines helmet.
I'm telling you, it does. It does.
Oh man, we died
because I'm like, who in the hell is Bart Andrews? I'm like, oh, that's Bart Andrews. Okay, over to you, Scottie D.
All right, indulge me one more time with local talk here. But on Monday, the college football Hall of Fame selections were announced, featuring Andrew Luck, former Heisman winner Rashawn Salam, Penn State's LeVar Arrington, Champ Bailey of Georgia. There's a handful of others. And one other one of note here locally is John Lughart. Now, John Lughart was the coach at Washington and Jefferson College for 17 years. He went 137-37-2. He had 2 appearances in the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl. That's the Division III championship game. And he had 13 conference titles. He then moved on to my alma mater, the Cal U Vulcans. And from 2002 to 2011, he went 88-33. He's the winningest coach in their history. He had 5 double-digit winning seasons and 5 consecutive playoff appearances. And that guy is going into the College Football Hall of Fame with a lot of household names, but that'll be big news here. John Lughart, called him Lucky around here. Lucky to have him in our area for Cal U and W&J. Be live, over to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and finish off this Pepper game with, I did a lot with college football, playoffs, and everything like that throughout the season. So I did get away from my bread with the most ridiculous thing I could possibly find in the history of ever that happened this past week. And we heard some stories about the Jacksonville Jaguars and Shad Khan, Duval, and the whole clown situation and everything, wanting to fire Trent Baalke and all. We've heard a lot about it. But this has got to be the first time I have ever heard of an NFL team sponsor saying, please, I know we signed the contract, but please, Kim, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Wow.
Y'all terrible. Y'all are gods. And we won't out. Please, the kid, I know that. So it has been reported that the final game of the season is already passed. That was going to be a clown show, which it actually was, but they ended up winning. But needless to say, roofclaim.com, a roofing company located in Georgia with business in Florida, they have sued the Jacksonville Jaguars to avoid being mentioned as the primary sponsor of this past game. They said, please take our name off of this. We don't want no parts of this. We are not a clown organization like you guys. And we would like to get out of our contract if we could, because we don't want to be a part of it. We don't want to be part of it. Please take our name. Please, it's not good for business. And so, according to the agreement, is that roofclaim.com, they signed a $2.5 million deal in August, which was to include 4 years of being a primary sponsor, being mentioned once a game, et cetera, being a primary sponsor. And they're like, yeah, we don't want to be part of it. But here's even another caveat to it. As part of the deal, companies guaranteed a single game spotlight each of the 4 seasons. The deal also included a provision allowing Roofclaim to terminate the agreement should, and wait for it, he that shall not be named is fired as the head coach.
They found their way out. Damn it. Smart.
But they put a provision in the contract.
Wow.
That said, if he that should not get named gets fired, we're out too. Which meaning they were prepared for this to be a complete crap show.
That's not good.
But part of the contract, which I can't really get into, it would have been, it could only be used at the end of the 3rd season of, so they could back out of the contract after the 3rd season. It's a 4-year contract. Ooh. But since he that shall not be named, but they're now in court. They're going to court to sue the Jacksonville Jaguars, try to get out of that contract because they don't want to be a part of the team anymore. The Jaguars have a long way to go. You might have a lot of long money in Shad Khan, but when sponsors are like, Blair. Roofclaim.com. If you want something to invest your money in that has a lot of backing and great talent, and we will represent you to the best of our ability. Holla at a boy. Holla at your boys. Holla at the roofclaim.com. Yes, sir.
Lord have mercy.
What? What? They went out. They said no.
Like who does that? Like, think about it. You're a business, right? You're going to a deal with the football team who's been notoriously bad since their existence. you have an opt-out clause in case something happens to the person who shall not be named on this podcast. If that's not a precursor, I don't know what the hell is. But as the Almighty Be Live said, if y'all want to come, a good, reliable product that don't suck, come holler at us. And Scottie D, that kind of gives me an idea for a future choice of the voices question. I'll see that off air. So, all right. So with that being said, does everybody have all their choice? Not all their choice, but all their pepper points in?
Done, baby.
Yeah, we are good to go. It is time for the national championship game.
Oh, we already watched
it.
We already saw
Well,
it.
I was going to say, we're telling the people what we're about to do.
We already watched
We're recording on Monday.
Congratulations.
So what we're about to do.
Congratulations, champs.
They know by now. But what's going to happen? You know what? Just
congratulations. What a game that was. Congratulations. Congratulations to the champs.
Yeah.
In the words of Steve Harvey, just bring on the water.
Wait to ruin the moment, Scott. It's okay.
And in closing,
do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They really appreciate it now more than ever. Congratulations, because somebody in the SEC won the damn national championship. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros podcast. Thanks for listening.
Let's go, Cowboys.
And
Let's go, Cowboys.
Come on, sir. All roads and all those things.
Miami, please hire Jim Caldwell. If Matt Patricia's in the area, throw a bar of soap and some water at his ass. Oh, see y'all next week. Be live. Hit it one time.
Yes, sir.
See you next week. You know, man.